Okay, so hello.
Hello.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, since the corona, I'm teaching on Zoom, and it's so nice to see people from all around. We could have never met if it wasn't for the Zoom. So thank you, Ginat, for making this happen, meeting new people. Yeah. So let's just, I would love to hear just first name and where you are from. That's so we all get to hear it together. So I'm Meirav and I'm from Zichron. It's north of Italy and the beginning of the Mount Carmel. And let's hear, Pam, where are you from?
Meirav, did you say it's north of Italy?
North of Israel. I say, yeah, my husband is from Italy. But Israel, yeah, north of Israel. From north of Italy to north of Israel, yeah. So Pam, yeah.
Good morning. I'm in Manitoba, Canada, the center of Canada.
Thank you. And Clara.
I'm from Har Adar in Israel, right now in Japan.
You live there?
In Har Adar.
No, in Japan, you're in vacation or you live there?
Well, it's a vacation we take many times.
Nice. Okay, and Janet, where are you from?
Yes, I'm from Ohio in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Show me.
Thank
No,
you.
Missouri is show me. Ohio is
Okay, Arlene.
I live in Jerusalem.
Next by. And Isabella.
I am from Poland originally, but right now I'm living in London.
Thank you. Grace.
Grace seems to be incognito today.
Okay. And Ellen. Also.
Both Grace and Ellen are muted. Perhaps if you
Yeah, you can unmute and just say where you're from. If you hear us, sometimes it's, okay. So, Ellen, where are you from?
Hi, I'm from Massachusetts. I just woke up, so I'm going to go back on.
Good morning. Good morning to you. Yeah, it's early in the state. Yeah. No? Okay. And
Maureen?
Maureen, yeah. Where are you from?
Good morning. I just woke up too. I literally put the Zoom link on. I live in Maryland, just north of Washington, D.C.
Yeah, beautiful.
Well, I want to say
But
that
nice to join you.
Massachusetts is Boston,
Is Boston,
United States.
Yeah.
Finding out.
Okay, so we haven't heard Grace, if you want to say, or connecting to audio, I don't know who it is, so we begin. So actually, I see that I'm starting the whole day you have, yeah. So I will talk a bit, I have like 40 minutes to talk about family constellation or systemic constellation. Anyone heard about it? Isabella? Ginat? Okay, yeah. So, yeah, and I took the subject of death and dying, because in the constellation, we see many connections between the dying and the living. Even we can say there is no, we don't divide between the dead and the living. We put them in the same field, in the same room. So I will say 2 sentences about family constellation. It's a kind of a healing, therapeutic style that came from Germany by a man called Bert Hellinger. He was a priest. He lived many years with the Zulu in South Africa, where he got his major knowledge about how families, systems, bigger system, tribes function in order for the love in the family and the harmony and the peace to be in the family. There should be kind of, he calls it orders of love in the family. And the people in the tribes are still living by these orders. They ask permission, they ask blessing from their ancestors. They have a lot of respect for their ancestors. They have a lot of openness and open window and communication with the dead. It's not something scary. They live with the dead. Sometimes, you know, they bury the dead and speak to them and celebrate dying. And so from there, he went to Europe, and after combining it with many family therapy and group therapy, Gestalt and drama therapy, he came with this very, very special work. And he died a couple of years ago, but today the family constellation is very, let's say, I don't know, famous, it's not the right word, but yeah, many people use it to heal. Hello, I see some people join us. Yeah. Simic, hi. So what do we do actually in family constellation is that a client, somebody comes with a question. It can be about a disease, about a dispute or a challenge in the family between family members, or any other problem we have in life. And we use people that was originally, but in the clinic one-on-one, we use kind of marking on the floor to mark the family members. You know, this can be my grandfather, and then I bring another one to be my mother, and I position them on the ground. And then we can start to inquire where the issue of the present is connected to someone, to somewhere in my past lineage. And what systemic family constellation shows us many times is that the young children, the descendant, usually carry the let's say the leftovers of trauma that come from the ancestor, and we call it unresolved trauma, unresolved emotions, unresolved grief, unresolved movements, yeah, even like reaching out movements from children to parents who needed to be cut because of war, because of death that was too early of the child or of the parent. And we ask from the rest of the group to be representatives. And what Bert Hellinger discovered is that anyone can be a representative. It's a gift we all have, because it's a gift that we can resonate with another human being. We can call it empathy, we can call it, I don't know, quantic physics. You know, we can really feel each other. So if somebody is asking Clara, please represent my great grandmother, yeah, I can lead Clara to sense into herself and to feel into herself, and suddenly some thoughts or memories or feelings in the body comes up that Clara feels they are not mine. As I became the grandmother, I suddenly start to feel a pressure in my chest, or I feel a very young child next to me. Yeah, so things are starting to happen. We call it the knowing field. The knowing field is always here, and we can connect to it. And information from the past and also from the future are present in the present time. And as the facilitator of the constellation, what we are trying to find out, hopefully, is a very strong connection between the problem of the descendant to someone or a group of people from the past. Yeah. So, for example, I just had a client that wants to, she has her own business, she wants to, she's stuck, she's feeling stuck, she feels that she doesn't, the groups are starting to diminish and she cannot fulfill her dreams. So when we brought her parents, we felt a connection very strong to the father of her father. And he came from Russia and he opened a business here, and he didn't have a lot of success. What we see in the constellation is that this grandfather, when he came from Russia, he turned his back to his ancestors. He said, what happened in Russia stays in Russia. I will start a new life in Israel. And so this grandchild doesn't know anything about her great-grandparents. She doesn't know the names. She doesn't know where they lived, what they loved, what happened to them. Nothing. It's like as if the tree of life, the tree of family tree, is starting from her grandfather, from her grandparents. And when we put the great-grandparents as a representative, the person who stood there immediately felt, I want to be seen, I want to be remembered. Now, just to tell you, like the anecdote here is that this woman has a business of eyes, let's say something connected to eyes, to seeing. So when she stood in front of her great-grandparents and he said to her, I want to be seen, not forgotten. Yeah, so you hear the straight connection to her business about making people see better, and how until her family will not see the people who left in Russia, her business will get stuck. It's as if unconsciously, many decisions and many things we do in life unconsciously are a solution to something that happened in the past. So even diseases we see in the constellation as solution. It's not the problem. It's the solution to something painful that happened and needs to be acknowledged. And many times when it's acknowledged, the person who holds the problem, the pain, whatever, feels a lot of relief, and a new life energy can flow through to his children, grandchildren, and so far. Yeah, so if any question for now, or something that you want to...
I always have questions.
Yes, Gina.
Two questions. One, is it something that can be done on Zoom in a group like ours?
Sure. Of course. Anyone can resonate, anyone can bring an issue, and I facilitate. That's what we did in the Corona. We had many people from around the world. Yeah, it was very touching. Maybe we try something, small exercise, so you will see.
I have one more question, and then I would love to do that. Can you just say a little bit more about how you don't distinguish between incorporated and unincorporated, in body and without a body?
Yeah. We see it like this. We work with the system of the client, and every system has in it the memory of everything that was born to the system. So if we say, let's take a forest, and there was a fire in the forest and new trees grew in the forest, something in their structure of the new trees will remember the burned trees. Maybe they will, grow a bit to the side. Maybe their leaves will be a bit cracked, or I don't know. So the same in family system. Whoever was born to the system has influenced the system, and its influence is incorporated in every particle of the system, no matter if he's embodied or not. Maybe even if he died 200 years ago, the energy he left in the family system is still here. So we can understand from that we are all connected in some way. Whatever we do, whatever we say, whatever we go through is influencing many, many people. It's the good news and the bad news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have some questions.
Yeah.
So when you speak of this family and the tribe, and you put your ancestors out there, but you feel your problem is with a current person, or they're sort of influencing your smaller family dynamic. How does the influence of this current alive person factor into this?
Yeah. So we use healing sentences. Healing sentences are, for example, sentences that bring light to the belonging, order, and balance. For example, if my grandmother suffered in the Holocaust and she couldn't be a mother to my mother, and I suffer from that because I need to be emotionally supporting my mother. We have it after many wars, we have it, or slavery or whatever. Then the right, as we bring the mothers in, I would tell my mother, you're the big one, I'm the small one. I cannot take all this on me. I'm only a child. And my ancestors would look at me, and a healing sentence will come from them to me as well. You are only a child. We take with us what's ours, and we leave you only what's yours. So there is some kind of healing sentences that help the client that is alive to separate between what was traumatic in the family to his own issues. So it's sometimes the healing can manifest in the issues themselves. And sometimes what's really helping is that my relationship to my problem is changed, because I see that I took the problem, I made it bigger than what it was, because it was not only my problem, it was the whole family system problem. Like not getting married, not bringing children, being sick all the time, I don't know, whatever issue it is. If it's too big on the client, for us, it's a sign that it's a systemic. It belongs to a family, to many members of the family. It's not the client is too small to take care of it. Yes, Maury.
What I wondered is, what if you don't have a lot of knowledge about your family, your forebears? Like beyond my grandparents, I don't really have, much information about their life experience.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's when the representatives are the important figures in the constellation, because they have we all can connect to the knowing field. And then a grandparent, maybe she doesn't know the whole story, but she can tell you, somebody can tell you, I feel a lot of pain. It feels like I lost a child. So maybe you will never know if she lost a child because you don't know the facts. But if she's holding a grief like losing a child, that will influence the grandmother, the mother, and the grandchild forever. So it's not about, we don't need the facts. We are looking for the emotional movement that got stuck, and especially it's about grief. I mean, I want to bring in back the subject of death and the dying. Many, our history as human beings is full with eras in history where humans didn't have time to stop and grieve. You know, to really give time for the sorrow before we go on, before we have to move to another country, before we have to find another wife, another woman, make another child. You know, we have to grieve for the one who died or for the 5 abortions I had before. Yeah. So the more we got away from our tribal nature and the land of Africa as a symbol, we got away from our inner necessity to sit as a human tribe and give time. And they know, researches shows that people who came back after the Second World War, they came from Cambodia or Vietnam, and they went back to the tribes, and the tribes did something like a circle of men to cry, to scream. They have less PTSD than the Americans who came back from the war, from the Vietnam War. And the Indians do it also. They put them in this sweat lodge. They bring them into the warriors, into the sweat lodge to sweat, to scream, to get out all the images they saw. We don't know how to do it. We give pills to soldiers. Mm-hmm. In the good, if they're lucky, yeah. So that's an example. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this kind of work is very ritualic. There's a flavor of rituals in it, and also a knowledge about trauma, and many things. Let's try something. We have like 20 minutes. Let's do like this. So somebody is sitting with some burning issue. If not, I can do something to the whole group even. Okay. So should I wait another minute for you to... Ginat, you want to try?
No.
No, okay. Okay. So I will do you, so let's do the exercise I wanted to actually try to do together, because it's about, yeah, it's a kind of meditation, but we do it, you can hear it as a meditation, or I can guide you to do something in your own space, in your own window. Okay. Okay. So close your eyes a moment, and you can lean back on your chair. Sense yourself. And you bring into your consciousness all your ancestors, all the people in your family who are no longer alive. Yeah, so some of them you know, some of them you don't know. Some of them are your ancestors and you don't even know that they existed because no one spoke about them. Maybe they were abortions of some auntie or grandmother. Maybe they were people who were given to adoption. Maybe they were people who moved to another country. Nobody heard from them anymore. So you just invite in your imagination all your dead ancestors, no matter what happened to them. The one who were victims, the one who were perpetrators, everyone are your ancestors. And you see them before you, next to each other. And each one of them has his own death standing behind. So each person of your ancestors has another representative standing behind his back. As his own death, his own fate, so to say. And just sense in your body, how is it for us to see each one of them so close to their own death, to their own fate, to their own life? What happened for them, what didn't happen for them, dreams that they accomplished, dreams that they couldn't accomplish. And what if we look at all these ancestors and in our heart, we say just one word. We say, yes, I accept. I accept your fate. I accept your death as it was. Which means when I say yes to your fate, I say yes to my life. I got my life only through each one of you and his fate. And then we also sense our own death behind us. And we can lean into our death, into our fate, into our journey of life. And we sense its presence and its power and its love. Take some deep breath in your body. And when you open your eyes again, just rest with your eyes on the screen so we can have a moment with our fellow friends who made the same journey, accepting our fate by accepting our ancestors' fate. Yeah. And so let's see if you have a question or something small or big to share. Yes, Pam.
In our family, we really know quite a bit about the trauma and difficulties of my mother's life and her mother's life. But through doing this exercise, it became very clear to me that, I put a question out there first, that the answer or part of that was having to do with my dad and his family, which we don't know about as much about, or think was as traumatic or had that much to do with things. So now I'm looking at this issue in my life. And even when I was thinking of it, when you started talking about this, I still thought I could see connections to my mother's trauma and my brother's connection to my mother. But now I can explore or feel maybe there's more of an answer through my dad's side of the family.
Yeah. I say it's true. That's usually what we see in couple relationship, is that the side of the family of our parent that had more unresolved trauma can usually or take the whole space or being pushed aside. Yeah. Or the whole family goes to the grandmother who has more to give, and we never go to the one who has more pain. Or we go only to the one who has more pain because this side of the family needs more support. And then there's no space for the other part of the family. Yeah. And what the children, and you're the child here, in our heart as the children, we say, Father and Mother, you are both in me. And what we are longing to hear is from, thank you, Ellen. What we are longing to hear from my mother is that my mother will tell me, your father as well has a place. And we want to hear it from the father to the mother because each family is different. But we want acknowledgement that the father and the mother acknowledge that the child belongs to the two tribes. We are the union of two tribes. And in our heart, we wish for a love connection between the tribes. And many tribes cannot, especially if the parents get divorced or pull one of the children to their side from all kinds of reasons. Yeah, it's very painful for the children. Yeah. Yeah, so you can imagine your father's side and then, just be with them for a while. Light candles, ask about them, find pictures, even just in your heart saying, you exist in me. I am your continuation. Yeah, it can be healing. Yeah, any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I can make a small comment also.
Yes, Simik.
And the Buddhists have a practice of sitting and not interacting consciously with an ill person or with a patient, with a family member, And it's a meditative sitting.
Mhm.
It's a harmonizing, if you will. And all these different frequencies that we are immersed in, electromagnetic, and we're emitters, electromagnetic emitters as well as absorbers, are mixing and harmonizing with the person that we're sitting with. Does that sound to be something that applies in this situation? As far as I can tell, we are the only electromagnetic emitter and receiver here in this exercise. We are asking all of our ancestors to be present, but we are offering our frequency to them. Does that sound reasonable to you?
Yeah, when I hear you, yeah, I feel resonance with what the constellation is offering. Many constellations are healing just by the fact that we put representations for the dead, and we work with the sick person or somebody who is suffering a lot, and the facilitator and the sick person are sitting together with the dead. And as you say, there's some kind of electromagnetic field that first gives the client a feeling of belonging, which is very, very important in our life. In the constellation realm, we see that many sick people, if they are reluctant, sometimes the suffering is so strong and they don't let go, as we say, into death, into the warm arms of death. We do a constellation to discover, you know, does this client feel like there is somebody waiting for him in the other side? Because if I was cut from my family and my roots, it's kind of an image, I cannot go home to the dead, yeah? Because there will be no one, I will stay alone. And it's so scary, so I hang on to my, and the suffering is even stronger. And then we can, it's like being a doula for death, you know, like really seeing that, yeah, you know, all the dead people are waiting there as a symbol. You don't need to believe it or not, but it's kind of a home. On the other, it's also a continuation, let's say, of this home. Yeah.
And in the Jewish tradition, it's said that the mortally ill, the folks who are approaching the end, should not be alone. Even if there's no family member, someone is going to be there to assist them in the transit.
Yeah, we sit 7 days in the person who 7 days. The house has to be full with friends, people. Yeah, Ginat maybe can help me here, or Clara with the Jewish tradition. Who else? Yeah, probably more by the. Yeah. So so the dead, yeah.
I don't know if he was talking about when someone is sick or after the death. I think he meant when someone was sick.
People who are
Mike?
Yeah,
Mike, is that what you meant?
As people, as a family member or a friend or an acquaintance is approaching the end, it's important in the Jewish tradition, as far as I understand it, that someone accompany or be there to assist in the transit to the other side.
Yeah.
And I think I have this correct. There's actually a social organization. If people don't have family members or close friends, there are social organizations that will go to sit with the person.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
Maybe in the
Clara?
religious sector, probably. Yeah.
Mhm.
Religious, yeah. Yeah. So there are many sects of Judaism here in Israel. So
Right.
yeah, many
Yeah.
ways. But I also can add to what you're saying is that it's very mysterious, because from my experience with stories of clients is that sometimes the person who is about to pass on needs everyone to be with him, and sometimes only when they go out to the bathroom or go home, that's when he can, with his aloneness do the jump.
Yeah.
Jump.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That happened with us, and I went for, make a phone call, get everyone up to date, and I came back, and 2 seconds after I had returned, the doctor arrived and asked, to me for an update. I said, she beat us to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Simic. Okay, so we have a couple of more minutes. Yeah. Let's see if somebody wants to say something more. If not, I will wrap it up.
It's Maureen again with a question. If there's a deep schism within your family of the existing living beings in your family, how, and there's no communication, what can be done, oneself, what can one do to try and diffuse that lack of communication?
Between living family members, you mean?
Living, yes.
Yeah. What we see many times is that if brothers and sisters or parents and children don't speak for a long time, they don't want to see each other. That's what you mean, right? It didn't start with them. There's a book called It Didn't Start With You. It's a constellation book. You can read it. It didn't start with them. Again, it's the symptom is the answer to something that happened in the past. Okay, and usually when we see symptoms of really cutting off a family member, not speaking to each other, we ask if there was some kind of violence, maybe within the family or to the family from another system. And then what we see is that one family member is very identified with this side of the conflict, and another family member is identified with the other side of the conflict, of the victim perpetrator conflict, a very strong conflict. And we saw it during the COVID. Here now in Israel, we see it, families again are fighting for the government, against the government, and it can go on to not speaking to each other. They don't even understand how they are identified. So in the constellation, we will try to ask the question, when the two people are not speaking to each other, who are they loyal to? And when we find the loyalty, then we work with the loyalty, or we bring in as a representative. And what you can do with objects at home. Yeah, so I have these dolls, and you can say, okay, this one doesn't speak to this one. And we turn them back to back, and we ask, who is she identified? So she's identified with the people who lived here before us. The natives. Just it popped up here. And this one is identified with the new people, with the white people, yeah, the white gum. Yeah, and we move them away, and we work only with the two sides of the conflict. And also there, if we work with candles, we do a ritual, we pray. So these human beings are just paying the price of something bigger than what they can hold.
Mm.
So that's kind of, I'm giving you in 2 minutes, 2 cents of what we do, but it's very powerful. Yeah, it's very healing to see that. Yeah. Okay. So I think, yeah, Ellen, yeah, you wanted to say something? No, okay. Yeah, I read your chat. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah, so I hope you take what you need from my talk, and what you don't need, you can live with me. Yeah.
I invite everyone, if you want to unmute yourself in these next few minutes, just to be present together. That was powerful, and for me, and healing just in the small bit that we had. So great. If you want to unmute and just kind of hold the space together.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful idea.
Fantastic presentation, Meirav, and great energy. I really enjoyed the calm energy.
Thank you, Isabella. Yeah.
Maureen, thank you for your question. It really was illuminating for me as well. And your answer to that question.
It was lovely to be with you all. And thank you, Ginat, for your initiation. Yeah. Yeah. Next, my partner will be with you. Let's see what.
Okay, Massimo.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, then, well, let's take a break and convene back here in 12 minutes or so, right at the top of, or a few minutes before, and we'll begin right at the top of the hour. Thank you, Meirav.
Thank you. Bye-bye.